Mary had a little lamb.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Oh, it's Thoughts and Prayers Friday, you bastards, again.
I'd like to start this morning with a word about yesterday's tragic shooting in Parkland, Charleston, Orlando. I, along with all members of the Senate, will keep the victims and their families in our prayers.
My thoughts and prayers will go out to all of the victims, their families, and the entire community.
Offering our prayers and our thoughts.
There's a whole lot of mourning and a lot of grief and a lot of broken hearts.
My heart, my thoughts, my prayers.
And of course, we are thinking and praying today.
I stand for freedom.
Thoughts and prayers. Protect
That will lift the victims and their families.
Do you think that the news organizations like just pre-write these stories and then just plug in, you know, like at the end, the city and how many dead? Because I think that they could. You're going to have to talk to me because I have said everything that I know how to say. More guns, more gun violence, period. Right? Now, there was another mass shooting last night, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, and they still don't. It's like the same story over and over again. Don't know the motive. Don't know the motive. This one has a little twist in it. The FBI and the local police knew about this person. He's a young guy in his 20s. I'm guessing a white man is what I'm guessing. I don't know. All I know is FedEx facility, Indianapolis, Indiana. I think this is the third mass shooting this year in Indianapolis. Hey, way to go, Indy. And a young male in his 20s, shooter, commits suicide, takes 8 people with him. Could we just go back to before the days where, you know, semi-automatic weapons and weapons of war were commonly, you know, given out to people just to like cookies, like crackers? Could we go back to like when you wanted to kill yourself, you had to jump off a bridge? Because I don't remember people jumping off bridges taking 8 people with them. Do you? What is going on here where people want to commit suicide, A, in and of itself sad and problematic, but B, they want to kill a whole bunch of people before they kill themselves. They need to take a whole bunch of people with them, and guess what? They have the tools to do it. Just write the mass shooting news. Just write it in advance, and then plug in the location and the number of injured and the number of dead. Oh, and whether or not the shooter was a white guy, because still to this moment, I'm not clear, I'm not sure. I will tell you this. The story is that the family of this person, you talk about, oh, well, let's do red flag laws. You know, this is like as far as the Republicans will go on the gun talk is, well, we do need red flag laws. You know, people should be able to go to the court and make a case in front of a judge and get a judge to enter a verdict about whether or not this person should be able to have their guns taken away from them for like 3 days. It's just like reporting spousal abuse, right? And you can't really report it because you know that once you report it, they're going to let the guy go and he's going to come after you, right? Okay. So, maybe there are 4 red flag laws there. Well, apparently this family did report this 20-year-old guy who just killed 8 people, wounded, I think, 4, and then took his own life. Yeah, they did warn. They warned the local police and the FBI closed the investigation for lack of, insufficient evidence. You know, there's another story that goes side by side with this one. It's not as, killing. It's not as bloody. It's not as dramatic. But it's another story about reporting somebody and the whole thing backfiring. What are you talking about? Okay, so AP reported yesterday that the former lieutenant governor of Texas, no, not Dan Patrick, who told us to die of COVID for the stock market. No, the one who preceded him, Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst, of Texas. He was arrested on a family violence charge in Dallas and released from jail on Wednesday, after he assaulted a woman. Okay. Now, why is this like the other? Well, because Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst had a girlfriend, and that girlfriend reported him because she said he was violent and hurting her. And guess what happened? She got arrested. She was arrested for injuring him. For injuring him. She apparently injured him in self-defense and broke 2 of his ribs, but they didn't care about that part. So they arrested her. He went on to assault another woman and finally was arrested on family violence charges. Yeah, now, this is the same story in this weird way of this 20-year-old. The family of this 20-year-old actually reported him as being very violent and somebody who should not have had a gun. So he was a known violent person in the community, but they closed the inquiry into the suspect, who is now the dead man who killed 8 people, saying insufficient evidence. Now, you know, if these were black people, then they would have died at the moment of contact with the police. You know, wouldn't have, Now, the poor white girl who reported the lieutenant governor, she didn't stand a chance because he's powerful. It's Texas, you know what I mean? So they put her in jail. Shut up already. Just shut up about it. So this person that just committed this mass shooting at the FedEx in Indianapolis was somebody who was known to law enforcement. He was known to local authorities, and he was known to the FBI, who had opened up a preliminary investigation into any possible threat. And they closed it, insufficient evidence, and he went on to just massacre people last night in the parking lot of the FedEx, and then walked into and randomly just never got into a confrontation with anybody, just randomly, which tells you that whoever, spotted his mental breakdown or his inability to discern right from wrong, or his inability to separate his anger and violent urges from his gun collection, So today is another Thoughts and Prayers Day. The story is the same. It's the same story over and over again. The experts will, sit on the TV and they will say, listen, more guns equals more gun crime. Quote, I'm just going to say what they're going to say because we've been to this rodeo over and over. They're going to say, we will probably never know the motive. Ted Cruz will offer thoughts and prayers in a combative way. Because shooting a bunch of people in America is what we do in America when we feel angry or frustrated or bored. Because people in this country who are ill-informed, poorly informed, like nakedly unread, think that they have a Second Amendment right to do that. They think that if they feel frustrated, if they feel angry, if they feel bored because of a lockdown or because we're trying to prevent another 500,000 people from dying from a virus, then they have the right to shoot a bunch of people because they're bored or because they're isolated or because, they snapped and they don't know that they're supposed to pick up a phone and ask for help. They think that's why the guns are there, to help them relieve themselves of their boredom, their anger, their frustration. So here's a guy, kills 8 people, kills himself. Oh, and the other thing we might hear is, it was a copycat after the Boulder, or it was a copycat after the Atlantas. Right? Only in America do you have access to machines that will help you take others out when you feel suicidal. I really do. I miss the days of It's a Wonderful Life. Remember that movie, It's a Wonderful Life? Mm-hmm. He was suicidal, right? He was going to jump off a bridge. I don't recall him wanting to shoot up Mary's house. I don't recall him wanting to shoot up the gym.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Overnight, another massacre leaving Indianapolis in mourning. The worst case scenario playing out again. A lone gunman, likely with an assault rifle, opening fire in a public place.
Caller heard 10 shots from near the front of the entrance.
Overnight, Indianapolis becoming the scene of the nation's latest mass shooting.
There's a suspect description, shooter, short white male wearing a hat, has a machine gun currently in front of the building.
Shortly after 11 p.m., police responding to reports of shots fired at the FedEx ground facility near the airport.
I have a female who's in a control room who advised the subjects are still shooting. She does not have a visual, but can hear the shot.
Police arriving on the scene moments later, finding multiple victims inside and outside the shipping facility where roughly 100 workers were on duty.
We heard 3 more shots. And then my buddy Levi saw someone running out of the building, and then more shots went off.
According to authorities, multiple people rushed to local hospitals. 8 killed in the shooter's rampage, and police say he died by suicide.
The shooter has taken his own life. We don't feel that there is an active threat to the community at this time.
Worried families waiting at a Holiday Inn through the night for word on their missing loved ones.
I hope, God, that he's not injured, and I hope a whole lot of other people are not injured either, but we don't know.
Overnight, FedEx telling ABC News, our thoughts are with all those who are affected. We're working to gather more information and are cooperating with investigating authorities.
It is very heartbreaking. And, you know, in the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, the officers responded. They came in, they went in, and they did their job. And a lot of them are trying to face this because this is a sight that no one should ever have to see. This is a tragedy. But yet, through it all, we will come through it.
Police have not identified the gunman. So far, no indication of motive, as we're all asking why.
More guns, more gun violence. Period. That's why. We're all asking why. We're all asking why. You know, we're the only nation in the world with this kind of mass shooting. We're the only one. We are. This is such a national embarrassment. It's such a blood stain on the name American. It's bizarre. The whole system is so freaking broken. Policing is broken. Okay, and that's kind of where we left off yesterday. You have a 13-year-old kid. I mean, a little boy, 7th grader. A 7th grader who has his hands in the air and is shot by the police who are chasing him on foot, and we don't know what happened before. We don't know all we know is that there's a kid who was shot dead, and when his corpse was mounted for CPR purposes, right, were mounted to render aid after the shooting, there was no gun in his hand. No gun in his hand. That means policing is freaking broken. And we were talking about that yesterday. And this is why I kept saying, you know, the idea that we have to actually arrest people for low-level, non-violent. Now, this little boy was probably hanging out with the wrong people. I think you will find out that, you know, him being outside at, 2 o'clock in the morning was not where a 7th grader is supposed to be. But if you're going to be honest, I don't know how you grew up, but when I grew up, and I was in 7th grade, and I was 13 years old, 2 o'clock in the morning, I was getting into trouble. I really was. I had broken into the pretzel stand. You know, there was a department store behind my house, and in front of the department store, there was a pretzel stand that used to sell, ices and pretzels. And I broke in, not to get the money. There was no money. I broke in to get the pretzels and the ices. And then we had to put them somewhere. And we put them in one of our friends' parents' freezers in their suburban basement. And for some strange reason, those parents never asked where we got all of these barrels of ice. Okay, so, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're not doing everything right all the time, and you're 13 and you're in 7th grade, and your parents, I don't know, just don't know you're out of the house, then you deserve to die. Apparently, is what we're supposed to conclude here. You're supposed to die. No, policing is broken. Policing is broken, and the number of high-powered weapons that are on the street means our citizenry is broken. Now, you put these two things together, a broken citizenry that really does think that if you want to commit suicide, you don't have to jump off a bridge anymore. You don't have to take pills and die in your sleep. Oh, no. You could go and get the weapons of war, and you can take 8, 9, 10, 12 people out with you and go out in a blaze of glory, because that's your Second Amendment right when you are angry or confused or having a break with reality. You know, you don't have to ask for help. And, of course, if you want to commit suicide, you must take other people with you by virtue of semi-automatic weaponry. You put these two things together, this entitlement to kill other people because it's my Second Amendment right thought process in the citizenry, you put that out there with broken policing, and you know what you're going to get? America. That's what you're going to get. You would think that by now I would give up. I would just give up. How many shootings am I going to have to sit here and walk people through? You know, you would think, okay, we're just going to give up. The status quo is never going to change. No. There are easy, doable fixes. The problem is people don't want to change. They don't feel comfortable. In fact, that's how Fox News is making its living right now. I don't know if you understand this or not, but, you know, Tucker Carlson is saying the subtle subtext part, he's saying it out loud now. He's saying it very out loud now. He actually made a whole monologue out of it over the past few days. Now, this is where I come in to open up your bubble that you live in, you know, like your bubble of decency and logic and reason, to show you what's really happening in 4 million people's living rooms every night. Seems like a small number, and it is, but it infects the entire body politic, this disease. And so what he's been doing is targeting his program to over 40-year-olds by calling them out as being over 40-year-olds and telling them it's okay that you don't like change. It's okay that change makes you scared. It's okay that change makes you nervous. And that the people who are looking to do anything, change anything, move us forward, they need to slow down, because you're not there yet. You don't understand the world around you yet. And we need to slow down and lower our aspirations and lower our scientific ability to commensurate with the over 40-year-old guy in his freaking lazy boy who is just too afraid that his wife's going to rearrange the living room furniture and he'll feel uncomfortable. And then he downshifts, okay, into pure, unadulterated, China white, straight to the vein racism, and tells these over 40s, now you know his audience is over 60, and tells them that's why you feel the way you do, meaning that's why you feel racism running rampant in your veins, and it's perfectly okay. It's understandable because somebody is trying to change things up on you.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
If you're over 40, you may have trouble recognizing your own country. It's just too unfamiliar. Now, the self-righteous children on social media don't care to notice this, and when they do, they dismiss it, any complaint about change, as bigotry. But it's not bigotry. It's human nature. Abrupt change causes social chaos, always. Human beings develop customs and habits and generational expectations for a reason. It's not random. Continuity is comforting to people. If you eliminate familiar things overnight, societies fracture. Populations tend to explode. We've seen that happen.
We did.
The last industrial revolution, in the end, provoked armed revolutions. Hundreds of millions of people died. Germany got Hitler. Eastern Europe got Stalinism. Yes, we did wind up with antibiotics in the end. You could thank technology for that, and we do.
What?
But we also got genocide and atomic bombs. There's a lesson here. If you're going to change things, go slowly.
Okay, so this is his pretext, okay? This is the preface to go ahead and be racist because things are changing too quickly for you. And guess what? That's because the Democrats are doing that to you on purpose. The thing that the Democrats are doing is they, like we're out there fornicating like crazy, having all of these, brown babies. Like, I mean, you should only know that is what I do in my spare time. I just want to be like really honest with you that when I'm not here, I am out there fornicating with big black bucks, making mixed race babies just to unnerve old white men. Do you realize how stupid that sounds? Do you understand how ridiculous? But that's just another way of saying what he's saying. That is what he's saying.
Demographic change is the key to the Democratic Party's political ambitions. In order to win and maintain power, Democrats plan to change the population of the country.
Right.
They're no longer trying to win you over with their program.
Oh, no.
They're obviously not trying to improve your life. They don't even really care about your vote anymore.
No.
Their goal is to make you irrelevant. That is provably true. And because it's true, it drives them absolutely crazy when you say it out loud. A hurt dog barks.
What?
They scream about how noting the obvious is immoral. You're a racist if you dare to repeat things that they themselves proudly say.
Okay, you're a sick freaking frat boy from Rhode Island. Why are you using Southern colloquialisms all the time? Hurt dog bark. You know what he's saying there is just exactly what I just said, okay? That according to the right-wing lunatic fringe, who are passing voter disenfranchisement laws like crazy, that have gerrymandered the hell out of various Democratic districts to either spread Democratic voters out over many districts to dilute their vote and or put them all in one damn district so that they could have one Democratic congressman from a state that probably would produce 5 or 6 if they had not gerrymandered to dilute your vote, right? So they are doing this. They are doing this. We, on the other hand, are sending checks to everybody, proposing infrastructure, build back better plans that would employ in high-paying, good stinking jobs, every single able-bodied American, whether they could code or they could build, right, in the future, or healthcare workers, to take care of grandma and grandpa, or me at this point. And they propose absolutely nothing but tax cuts for the wealthy and say, just wait, it'll trickle down. But it's us Democrats that are trying to change the demographics in this country. And of course, the way we're doing it is in my spare time, I am fornicating with big brown men and black men like crazy so that I can give birth to mixed race children over and over again to change the demographics on that scared man that's watching Tucker Carlson and buying into that bullcrap.
I got to tell you, Randy, it's really kind of sad. Every now and then I meet a nice minority girl and I got to say, look, you're really nice, but we've got an agenda here, so keep it moving.
We got an agenda.
Got to stick to the plan.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, what is your plan? I just told you mine. What's yours?
Yeah, got to get more brown babies out into the world. Got to mix it up.
So why not a brown girl?
Oh, we're trying to dilute Tucker's voter base, aren't we? I thought that was the...
So you would want to...
Only the Caucasian girls, Randy.
Oh, because you think you're black.
Oh, ouch.
Well, you're the whitest black guy I've ever known.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. And Scott was the blackest white guy I ever known.
Oh, he's going to love that you said that. Oh, man.
Yeah. So, but for me, I mean, obviously, I'm pasty. I mean, they ask me what color I am. If I go to MAC and they want to color match me, I just go, Casper White, just give me that. You know what I mean? It's like, but no, I'm very busy. I mean, you and me, I guess, could have mixed race children.
Yes.
We ought to do that.
What are you saying, Randy?
I'm saying that,
this some kind of big reveal on air? What's going on here?
Howard's out of town, and, I'm bored. Now, you got guns, so we could either go shoot your guns and have fun that way and, stave off the boredom, or, we can, unnerve Tucker's base there and produce some crazy mixed race babies.
I thought it was interesting how he opened that by accusing other people of being self-righteous.
Listen, this is what I'm saying. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. Then I'm going to show you him saying what I told you he said. And then I'm going to tell you that he said it. And then it's just so simple. If you phrase it any other way than the frat boy from Rhode Island chose to phrase it, because what he is literally telling his audience is that Brett and I are up to no good, that I am very busy making mixed race babies to unnerve older white men who don't like change. That is sick as a... Listen, you know, they're going to have to stop saying that they're a news channel and start saying they're a political action committee at this point. And that the political action that they're looking to achieve is genocide. Because it is true that they are preaching upright, flat-out eugenics. That is what they are... And, you know, listen, just so that you know, there is a common thread that runs through the Republican Party. You know, I just played you Tucker Carlson saying, you know, don't change. And, you know, the Democrats are doing this. They're trying to change the demographics because they don't have an agenda. They don't have a plan for you. Meanwhile, we obviously do have an economic plan that works because we're the ones that always have to clean up the mess after Republicans crash the economy, whether it's because they refuse to respond to a pandemic or before that, they refuse to respond to criminality in the banking business. And people went broke and lost their houses and the economy tanked. And, you know, we had the big crash in 2008. Obama came in 2009. We did the Recovery Act. Okay, we passed some stuff, got the economy moving. It wasn't really big enough, so it moved a little slower than it could have if the Republicans would have gotten in to the idea that the middle class was crushed and damaged. But, you know, they liked it like that. And they just kept it nice and steady, but slow, right? Slow. Then they pointed to the slowness. We need a Republican president. Some people said, okay, I'm going to try that. They tried this Republican president. What did he do? Transferred all your money again to the wealthiest Americans. Now we have to fix it again, and we will.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, here's Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin talking about the demographic change.
Where's Vice President Kamala Harris on this? I thought she was in charge of the immigration problem or immigration crisis. Is she going down to the border, or is she going to do anything, or what's happening? Is there a task force? What? Anything?
No, she's AWOL, and of course she was on my committee, and we held something like 30 hearings on border insecurity and you know, problems with human trafficking. So she should be fully aware of this. She is fully aware of this, and yet this administration wants complete open borders, and you have to ask yourself why. Is it really they want to remake the demographics of America to ensure that they stay in power forever? Is that what's happening here? Because the human depredations that's being caused by their policies, they're just untold.
They're untold because they're not happening. There's your explanation. But you see the common thread? Do you see the common denominator that runs through the Ron Johnson, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity wing of the media universe? And why is Larry Kudlow back on the freaking business network? Didn't he embarrass himself enough at the Trump administration with a crashed economy and a pandemic out of control and 500,000 dead people and a positivity rate of COVID that's like through the ceiling? I mean, we're trying to get the positivity rate, meaning people who test positive, below 5%. If you could get it below 5%, we could just take our freaking masks off and move on with it. But, you know, listen, this is the way that the Republican Party behaves when there really is a problem. They ignore it. They blame you for it. They blame whatever they need to blame. They'll blame my uterus. They'll blame Brett's rejection of the young minority girl because he's got an agenda to go make mixed race babies with white women. You know, this is what he wants to. I'm offering up my services, Brett. You know, I'm bored is what it is. And Howard's out of town.
It's duty, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't want to
right.
do anything.
That's right. I'm reporting for duty. It's what I'm So let's unnerve them some more. But no, listen, this is the way they comport themselves when they fail to deliver any progress to the American people over and over and over again, when they crash the economy, when they redistribute the wealth from the middle class to their rich donors, when they, get caught in sex scandals, when they get caught, promoting violence or turning a blind eye to violence or to the beating of police officers at the Capitol, when they know that their president gave stand down orders and allowed them to be attacked. I mean, this is what they do. They instead of telling you we made a mistake, we should have done more for the American economy, we should have done more for the American people, we should have done more. They actually forget that they told you that if we spent billions of dollars on a wall, it would solve the immigration problem, right? They forget that they told you that and that Mexico would pay for that wall. Well, we ended up paying for the fencing that they chose, and apparently we still have to deport hundreds of thousands of people every season. Didn't solve the problem, did it? And it is seasonal, and it happens every year. But every year they pretend either they have the solution that will work if they have a Republican president in the White House. We're going to build that wall. That wall's going to solve all your problems. It's going to be the best thing ever. It's going to, we'll have no immigration, zero immigration, there'll be nothing. And if that doesn't work, then we'll just cage the kids. We'll cage them. We'll take them away from their breastfeeding mothers, and then we're going to throw them in prison. We'll throw them in jail. We won't feed them. We'll starve them. We'll let them die. Didn't solve the problem. Now we have a Democratic president. They want open borders. I thought you worked to close the border. I thought you sealed it hermetically with your black fence with the spikes on top. It was going to have razor wire and moats and alligators, and it was going to and we would spend, no money on it. The Mexican government was going to pay for this. So we ended up taking money out of our defense budget, transferring it over to, the border control people. And it didn't solve any of the problem. You know why? Because we're not the ones with the problem. No. Central America is where the problem is. And unless and until we actually devote ourselves to helping Central America, we're going to have this seasonal thing every year where we're going to have to deport all these adults over and over and over again and then make a judgment call about what to do with the children. What do you do with 6-year-olds? See what I mean? But they are going to do this year in, year out, year in, year out. And the racism and the hatred and the frustration and the inability to think your way out of very rote problems, repetitive problems, is just being destroyed. And we're becoming a laughingstock in the world. Do you think that China looks at America as a threat to its 18% GDP? Yeah, that's what China had. 18% growth. 18% growth. You think that they look at this mass murder, that they look at this racism that gets spewed out of the congressmen and the senators on the TV, that gets put on, websites by Americans and tweeted by Americans. You think they look at that and they go, yeah, we got to worry about them. They're going to outcompete us. Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. Right. It's embarrassing. And this is what they see when they see our Congress members trying to fight COVID. Anthony Fauci went up to the Capitol Hill yesterday to give testimony. And Jim Jordan, who obviously is a disgusting man who knows about young people being molested on his wrestling team over and over and over again and keeping his damn mouth shut about it and protecting the abuser while preaching QAnon pedophile ring crap. I mean, it's the height of irony, decides that he's going to show the world what American governance looks like, sounds like, tastes like, and smells like. And you know how it looks? It looks like an idiot. It looks like a mouthy white boy idiot.
In your written statement, you say, now is not the time to pull back on masking, physical distancing, and avoiding congregate settings. When is the time? When do Americans get their freedom back? Can you put your microphone on, please?
When we get the level of infection in this country
low enough that it is not a really high threat.
What is low enough? Give me a number. What, I mean, we had 15 days to slow the spread, turned into 1 year of lost liberty. 15 days. What metrics, what measures, what has to happen before Americans get their freedoms back?
My message, Congressman Jordan, is to get as many people vaccinated as quickly as we possibly can to get the level of infection in this country low, that it is no longer a threat. That is when. And I believe when that happens, you will see.
What determines when?
I'm sorry.
What measure? I mean, are we just going to continue this forever?
Okay, how could you be a Congress member, a leader in this country? How could you be a representative of people in Ohio and not know what the goal is that we're trying to achieve when it comes to beating back COVID? I don't know how he could not know. I don't know how. But to show his ignorance and to show his, his disingenuous concern for American freedom, he decided to make this a personal fight between him and Dr. Fauci.
When do we get to the point? What measure? What standard? What objective
5% positivity.
do we have to reach before Americans get their liberty and freedoms back?
You know, you're indicating liberty and freedom. I look at it as a public health measure to prevent people from dying and going to the hospital.
You don't think Americans' liberties have been threatened the last year, Dr. Fauci? They've been assaulted. Their liberties have.
I don't look at this as a liberty thing, Congressman Jordan.
Well, that's obvious.
As a public health thing. But I disagree with you on that.
You think the Constitution is suspended during a virus, during a pandemic? It's certainly not.
This will end for sure when we get the level of infection very low. It is now at such a high level. There's a threat again of major surges.
Dr. Fauci, over the last year, Americans' First Amendment rights have been completely attacked. Your right to go to church, your right to assemble, your right to petition your government, freedom of the press, freedom of speech have all been assaulted.
You're a freaking dumbass idiot, okay? People have lost their lives. That's the ultimate removal of freedom. 5% positivity or less. We've all been through this. Everybody knows when cities open, it's because positivity is below 5%. Only Jim Jordan doesn't know. And he decided that he was going to fight with Dr. Fauci. And you know why? You know why? Because there's only two things the Republican parties have: racism and fear of the other, and this faux concern for your liberty. Your faux concern. The Constitution, the United States, the government of the United States exists to protect the general welfare, the health of the American people. That's why we have government.
Mary had a little man. The fall. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
A Minnesota police officer is recovering after getting dragged by a car and hit in the head with a hammer. It happened in Hutchinson. Police say a customer attacked a Menards worker with a piece of lumber during an argument about wearing a mask. The officer later spotted the 61-year-old man and followed his car. When the man stopped, the officer got caught in the window and dragged down the highway. Police say the man also hit him with a hammer. The officer went to the hospital. The suspect went to jail. A 61-year-old white man has a police officer hanging out his window, sparking him down the highway. And he's alive. He's alive, everybody. You want to see how that looked? There's actually bystander video of of what she just reported on WCCO there, the local news. You want to see it? Here it is.
Oh my God. Oh, hell no. The cop is on there.
The cop is on there. And he literally got to drive and drive and drive with the cops sparking down the highway. Literally. The cops' heels are like sparking down the highway there. And the 61-year-old man is never shot. He's never killed. He's never pepper sprayed. He's never hurt. Unfreaking believable. But there is no such thing as white privilege, you know. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Okay, here is a white man stealing a police car after resisting arrest.
Get on the ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground! Put your feet, your hands on your back now! Get on the
Damn,
ground!
so close.
Get on the ground!
So close to compliance.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground now!
Dude, get on the ground.
Dude. Getting in the car now. Getting in the car. Oh, he's gotten tased. All right. Oh, no. Oh. Yeah.
Still got a death wish. He's chasing the taser didn't phase him.
Nope.
He's gonna shoot him. He gonna shoot. Oh, shit.
He got in the police car, okay? And he drives the police car away.
He's trying not to use his gun.
Stop.
Shoot his tires out. Shoot his tire out.
Oh!
He gonna kill himself.
Oh,
here come the helicopters.
Helicopter.
Yeah, that's helicopter. Here they come. Shoot his tires out, dude. Don't let him drive away. Oh, he gonna kill himself. Oh, watch out!
Oh, rams into the police car. Still alive. Still alive. Back up. Here comes backup.
He's running.
Yeah, he's running.
He ain't black. He would have been. Oh, he would have been killed him.
Duh. Stating the obvious right there. If that would have been a black man, they would have killed him. They would have killed him multiple times. Multiple. Like the first time when he charged the police officer. Like the second time when he got into his car. Okay, the first time when he didn't comply. Okay, we saw that, right? Get on the ground. Get on the ground. So the guy gets on the ground and then he gets up. I don't feel like getting on the ground. I'm getting up. I'm going in my car. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, yes, I am. And then tased. And then this pisses off the perpetrator. So then he rushes the police officer. You know, I think at that point, if he had been black, he may have been dead. Okay, so then he charges the officer, keeps on charging at the officer. No, he's not getting shot at. Nothing's happening to him, no. And then he jumps into the police officer's own cruiser and drives the cruiser around this, what do you call that? At the
cul-de-sac?
Yes. Thank you. Cul-de-sac. I'm a little dauncy. You know what that means? I can't recall certain words sometimes. You know what that is? That's because I quit smoking the cigarettes. Swear to God. Went to the doctor today. I said to her, I quit smoking and I thought I would feel so much better. I have never felt worse in my entire life. Oh, that's because your blood pressure is very, very low. See, you used to get juiced by the cigarette. You used to get a boost by the cigarette. You know, there's all kinds of fun stuff in that cigarette, like stimulants and everything. And you're not getting that anymore. So your blood pressure tanked. See? And your brain's a little woozy. You're a little, dauncy is what it is. I said, so what? She goes, well, if you smoke 3 cigarettes, it'd all go away. What? Yeah, but you know what we can do? We could put you on antidepressants. We can make you drink more coffee. We can have you drink salt and or Gatorade by the 28-ounce bottle. And if that doesn't work, we can always spark you up with some amphetamines. I said, all that just so I don't smoke a cigarette? Yep, all that. So I am dauncy. All because I haven't smoked in 3 months. Can you believe this? When do I get the big health boost? When will I get the... And I said to her, I am this close to smoking. She, oh, everybody's this close to smoking. I said, no. I got a mind like a steel trap. That's why I'm here. I could go outside. I could smoke the damn cigarette. I could make myself feel better. I know that. And yet, I turn myself into you. And look what you're telling me. All the drugs that are neatly wrapped and rolled in a nice, tight, bright package called a parliament. You want me to now go get from the pharmacy?
Kids don't smoke. Randy's making it sound something other than very bad. Kids don't smoke.
I loved it. I got to say. And I never felt better in my life. I was thin. I was small. I had a mind like a steel trap. And when I said to her, but you don't understand. I am a broadcaster. My superpower, and I only have the one, I'm not 6 feet tall. I'm not flat-chested. I can't wear clothes. I love fashion, but can't pull off a really good outfit. Got to wear, what I got to wear. I could get away with a few things, and that's about it. So that ain't it. And I'm not a great marksman. That ain't it. My superpower is I can think my way in and out of everything. I am super freaking smart. And now you're taking it away from me, and you're telling me, hey, we'll put you on pharmaceuticals. You know what her answer was? Why don't you think about retiring? Oh, bite me, baby. I'm going to die in this chair. And I always thought I would stroke out. I always thought that's how I would go. I mean, my mom thought so, too. That, I should calm the F down already because I'm going to have a stroke in this chair. Turns out, naturally, I have low blood pressure, not high blood pressure. Cigarettes give me normal blood pressure. Without cigarettes, I feel like I'm going to pass out every 5 minutes, and I can't think of words, and I have to ask Brett, what's the word? Cul-de-sac, right. Yesterday, I couldn't think of the word glove compartment. Dauncey. That's what it is. Jeff in Rhode Island.
Hey, Randy.
Yes.
Good to talk to you finally. Love your show. Hey, I just wanted to make a comment on the, you were talking about Jim Jordan.
Okay, no.
Earlier.
I'm kidding.
No, okay. No, I'm on your side, trust me.
Go ahead.
I think he and his clan, or whatever you want to call them, they don't want to wear masks to get the vaccine because it cramps their style, but they're ruining it for all of us who did do everything right because, it's people like them who don't get, don't protect themselves, protect others, and get the shot. The variants are going to go,
Right.
wild.
Look at Michigan. Michigan's off the charts, man. And we're still losing more than 1,000 people a day. So there's a reason.
Absolutely.
And the reason is that people just don't want to do what's right for society. They want to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And if that means that they want to carry, semi-automatic weapons in the subway system in New York where it's not legal, they're going to do it. Guy in Ohio just got arrested in Times Square in the subway station with a semi-automatic.
All things Randy at randyrhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Mass shootings where 4 or more people are killed or wounded, not including the shooter, have nearly doubled from 2018 to 2020, George. While the numbers have been spiking in general, last year we saw a lull for those happening in public places because the pandemic has shut us down. Now with so much of the nation opening up again, we're seeing more and more gunmen going to public places with deadly intentions.
Yay, America's back. All right, Mike in California.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Hey, Mike.
I wanted to ask, I've done some research since LBJ and Ronald Reagan. Did you know there's been more mass shootings under the Democrat Party than under the Republicans?
No, I didn't.
I think the Democrats has 40 and the Republicans has 19.
And this leads you to believe what?
Well, I don't know. We seem like we're having more shootings under the Democrat presidential.
So Parkland happened when who was president?
I'm just talking about shootings.
That Parkland was a shooting. It was a school shooting. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Who was president?
Who else can you remember?
Sutherland Springs, Texas. Who was president? Las Vegas. The 50. Okay, who was president when the Vegas shooter just shot at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino out the window there? Who was that?
That's Trump.
El Paso, Texas. 23 people dead, 24 others wounded.
Okay.
Midland.
Who was president?
Who shot
president?
Who shot Kennedy?
Okay, who was president when all them people killed? Who was president?
You think
who was the president? And all the gay people got killed in Florida
at the Pulse nightclub.
Yeah,
that was Trump.
You crazy? It was Obama.
Oh, that's right. It was June. It was right before the election. That's right.
Obama had 24 massive shootings when he was president, and Biden had Biden had what, 7? So they got 31. They got over 31 mass shootings under Obama and Biden's presidency.
Listen, I could sit here and tell you: Springfield, Missouri, that's 1. Midland, Odessa is 2. Dayton, Ohio is 3. El Paso is 4. Gilroy, California, the Garlic Festival is 5.
You guys always bring up
Thousand Oaks,
Trump.
California, 7. Synagogue in Pittsburgh, 8. Newsroom in Annapolis, 9. High School in Santa Fe, 10. Parkland, 11. Sutherland Springs, 12. Concert in Las Vegas, 13. Airport in Fort Lauderdale, 14. Right? Downtown Dallas, 15. What's wrong with you? There's no party to gun violence. Nobody cares who's in the White House unless they're targeting Jewish people because the president thinks that, Jews will replace us and preaches this anti-Semitic crap. Or unless, I don't know, he starts screaming fake news, fake news, fake news, and they go after a newspaper in Annapolis. Or unless, they, other than that, this isn't political. This is people thinking that they have a second right amendment to assuage their boredom, their frustration, or their unhappiness by shooting people. Idiot. What's wrong with people? What is actually wrong with them? This is a separate issue from policing, which I think he's confusing. And even me, in a dauncy state with low blood pressure, I can think my way out of the difference between mass shootings and policing. It's just very sick. Mark in Philadelphia.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
I'm dauncy.
I spoke to you last week. I told you about the ammosexuals. They're still out there.
Oh, yes, you did. The barrel curious, yes.
Absolutely. And it seems they are a very conservative bunch, aren't they?
Listen,
you know what?
The people who people who believe, okay, that a weapon of war is something that is guaranteed to them under our Constitution are wrong.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. They're ridiculously wrong, okay? That's just a fact.
Real quickly, listen, that Constitution, I went to high school. I consider myself somewhat educated. In 10th grade, they teach you there's a preamble to that Constitution. That preamble is a legal document that explains how to interpret the Constitution. It has to, when you interpret the Second Amendment, it has to promote the general welfare of the public. It has to provide domestic tranquility to the public. And it has to establish justice. That's what the preamble, which is every bit as much a legal document as the Bill of Rights. That is an instructional guide how to interpret the Bill of Rights. And if it doesn't meet that establishing promoting the general welfare, if you flood the streets with assault rifles because the NRA floods the Republican congressman's pockets with big donations, that is not the general welfare. That's the Republicans' welfare. And it doesn't provide tranquility if these kids are terrorized at the age of 10 because they have active shooter drills in their schools and their churches. Do any of these people with the guns have children? Do you want your kids to be terrorized because they go to school and they're hide under the desk? Somebody's going to kill you. That is just wrong. That's not tranquility. That's not the general welfare. They interpret that Second Amendment for cash, baby. It's what it's all about. They all get their campaigns funded. They got houses in Hawaii, and yeah, it's not the Democrats anymore. They're not taking the contributions like the Republicans are. And the NRA is just a criminal organization anyhow. They're corrupt. They're embezzling. They're tax evaders. They took Russia money from Maria Butina. They were involved with Trump for the last 5 years for money. It was a money laundering operation. And then when the Democrats want to make the nation better and save the children some psychological. Oh well, but you can't take away our gloves. We have the right. Well, how about the kids' right?
Listen, that's right. That's right. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness trumps the provisional nature of the Second Amendment, which clearly says a well-regulated militia being necessary for the preservation of a free state, the right of the people.
That was right. Now we have military. Now we don't need
so
militia.
What I keep trying to tell people is that is a provisional amendment, right? Provided that you need this, you get that. Because we don't need this, you don't get that. Because we have this. And we have this in the form of a National Guard, okay?
Absolutely.
That's what preserves the free state from the federal autocracy or the federal government from attacking Tennessee or the federal government from attacking New York. That's what? The National Guard. Here's what really matters. More guns means more gun violence. That is self-evident. And it doesn't matter who the president is unless you're talking about solving the problem. Oh, well, then it does matter who would sign what bill to prevent.
That guy called it. At least Obama wanted to have gun reform. It's the Republicans.
Obama stood there and cried after Sandy Hook. He cried.
Absolutely. And the Republicans did everything to fight him.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, we're going to run up against the break. But you know what? More guns, more gun violence. Period. End of story. And the reason why this criminal enterprise, the National Rifle Association, exists is to twist that.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Mass shootings where 4 or more people are killed or wounded, not including the shooter, have nearly doubled from 2018 to 2020, George. While the numbers have been spiking in general, last year we saw a lull for those happening in public places because the pandemic had shut us down.
Right.
Now, with so much of the nation opening up again, we're seeing more and more gunmen going to public places with deadly intentions.
That's what America does. When they're bored, when they're frustrated, when they're mentally, feeling challenged, they just go and shoot stuff up is what Americans were taught to do. It's very sick. It's very sad. It is a gun culture. America has become a nation at war with itself. And it's because of the utility of these weapons, okay? This guy last night, okay, so now we're finding out he was 19 years old. The shooter in Indianapolis at FedEx, 19 years old. I guarantee you he was the white kid, but they didn't tell me that yet. He used to work at FedEx, same FedEx that he went and shot up last night. So, this is like he got fired, he was disgruntled, or maybe he suddenly got daunty in the head and couldn't work or wouldn't work, who knows, and decided to take out his frustrations at his old workplace and decided to kill 8 people, wound a couple others, and, that's it. That's what he did. Because that's what people are taught in this country to do. How sick, how sad. And then you have idiots assigning some party affiliation to the shooter. There are some that do have party affiliation, like that guy, Caesar Sayak. Remember him? He had the white van, all kinds of, Trump things upon it, sent pipe bombs to newspaper reporters. Yeah, that was definitely something that was affiliated. But we don't know the motive of this one, and we don't know the motive of the Las Vegas shooter, moron. That's the whole thing I was telling you at the beginning of the show, that the news organizations, we could pre-write these mass shooting scripts. Just say, just leave blank the age of the shooter, leave blank the number of people he was able to kill, and leave blank the city in which he killed people. Everything else remains the same, including we will never know the motive. What didn't you understand about that? Stop being such a douchebag. Pauline in Michigan.
Hey, Randi.
Hi.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And I'm just calling to give you some encouragement. because I am an ex-smoker myself. It's been a long time, but I wanted to tell you how much it gets better.
Oh, I'm just, it's been 3 months, and I'm just waiting for the health benefits to kick in. That's all.
Your body has to relearn how to do things without cigarettes is all.
Apparently. But, listen, you got to admit, I'm committed to the non-smoking thing in that I know that if I would have lit up, probably I would have felt fine right away. I may have gotten dizzy like you do when you haven't smoked in a while, but then the stimulant would have kicked in and my brain would have cleared. But I didn't. I went to my doctor instead, and I told her, I need help.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I think you should have gone to the health food store instead.
And? What do I need?
That's what I did.
Well, what do I need?
I actually chewed on licorice root. To keep myself busy. It releases endorphins.
Okay, what else do I want?
You've already been quit for 3 months, so you're like way ahead of the game. You just pat yourself on the back. B vitamins would be a good idea.
Got it. I'm doing a B complex. I tried some vegan B12 bioavailable, and it made me very dizzy, so I'm not ready for the B12. But I did do a little too much probably, yeah. So I don't know what the right dose is, and nobody does. So, you just make this crap up as you go along. So I'm doing I'm just doing a B complex vitamin. I'll get some licorice root. What else do I want? Anything else?
Antioxidants. Resveratrol, Q10.
CoQ10.
Go on something regular that's a good high antioxidant.
Okay.
That's protective, so that you don't end up giving yourself cancer later. And if you do that now, you should be good to go.
Okay.
I stopped counting after many years. It just, keep patting yourself on the back.
Okay, I will. Thank you very much, Pauline. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Randy.
Thank you. Rosemary in Washington.
Hi.
Hi.
This is Rose. Hi.
Hi.
I want to thank you for informing people of their rights, no matter what, even if they don't like them. Like gun control, I am against the guns, but not against the right to have one.
Okay.
And it's very awful that people. I know a lot of people that have guns.
Yeah, I do too. So how you feel about background checks?
I don't mind it as long as they keep them safe. I had a friend that drove around with his gun in his car, but he had a special register saying he didn't have to show it out on the side, and he either kept it in his trunk or alongside of him in the car.
All right, thank you. What's the freaking point? We need background checks. Everybody gets that. Everybody wants that. Even her. And the idea, this straw man that they throw out all the time, that people who want background checks want to take away your guns, that's a lie. I can't tell you how many shows I have done about that lie. That is a straw man lie. Those are both extremes. Like what we have now is one extreme. The other extreme would be to go collect everybody's freaking gun and confiscate them. Those are two extremes. What we have, though, is extreme number one. That's what we have. That doesn't work. I am not for extreme number two because extreme number one doesn't work. I'm not that stupid. So I just want everybody to understand that the straw man argument that background checks or closing the gun show loophole or red flag laws where these people who are mentally reported to the police, reported to local police, reported to the FBI as being ready to commit violence. That is what we knew about this 19-year-old shooter in Indianapolis. His family reported him to the local police and to the FBI as being dangerous to others, that he was likely to commit violence and that he had access to these military type weapons. And of course, he did. That's a red flag law that should be in place so that families can actually do that and prevent what we saw happen at the FedEx in Indianapolis. Okay. That is a far cry from what the Republicans are trying to tell people we're trying to do. And by we're trying, I mean what Democrats, what progressives are trying to do. Nobody wants to, and nobody will, ever take your gun. There may be buybacks, maybe an opportunity for you to get rid of some stuff that you don't really even want anymore and get paid for it. Ooh, that would be bad. But nobody's taking anything.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
It's just this drumbeat of mass shootings over the past month. Gun violence is a national threat in this country. What needs to be done here?
Right.
I mean, I guess there's the what can be done on a national level from Congress, which I'll keep my thoughts to myself on that. But what can be done in terms of companies and families and people to protect themselves?
Right. So the notion that if we all arm ourselves, we will be safer, right? This is the notion by NRA and other groups, is belied and undermined by the fact that we are the most armed society in the world, and we have the most number of gun shootings. So that is not working for us, right? So
that's not working for us. So, right. And so in the minds of deviants, minds of lazy people, and I just say lazy because I believe everybody has the ability to read and think this through. But in the minds of lazy people, then the result of saying that more guns gives us more gun violence is that people like me want to take all the guns away. That is a lie. It's a straw man argument, and it's meant to end the conversation about who should and who should not be carrying weapons of war. Now, of course, we understand weapons of war are exactly what they sound like. They are weapons that are designed to brutally kill as quickly as possible as many human beings as it can in the shortest amount of time. Those things have absolutely no business in schools. They have no business on roadways. They have no business in businesses. They have no business in FedEx facilities. They have no business in synagogues. They have no business in freaking churches, right? So it's just a lie that people say, oh, they want to take away your gun, to end the conversation about what it could look like if we got serious about using guns for self-protection and nothing more. If we got serious about using guns for hunting and nothing more, using guns for self-protection in that setting and nothing more, you wouldn't have a country that looks like this. You wouldn't have a country that is mocked internationally, that is just the most armed nation in the world with the most gun deaths in the world. You would have a different result, and you would have a different population, and you would have different guns, and you would have different laws. But you would have guns. So could we just remember to say to whoever is going to argue that you want to take away their guns or whatever it is, could we just remember to say, hey, maybe I do, but that's not what's going to happen in the United States if we have a conversation about guns for self-protection at home or guns for hunting in the field. If you use an AR or an AK or any of these semi-automatic high-velocity weapons on a deer, you won't need a slow cooker because your meat will be shredded for you. You see what I'm saying? John in Oregon.
Hey, Randy.
Yes.
Oh, I'm long-time listener, first-time caller.
Hey.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've been listening to you since 2004, and I'll say I'm literally sane and alive because of you. So thank you for all of the great work that you have been doing for all these years. So I wanted to, respond to the guy who was saying that there are more shootings during a Democrat as president. So I don't know. I don't know whether it's true, but he was actually proving the opposite. That when a Democrat is in the White House, the Republicans, they just lose it and just go bonkers and go around shooting people.
Well, there's that. And there's also the fact that when Democrats are president, people still have access to guns, don't they?
Yes.
Right. So this straw man argument that Democrats are going to take away your guns, we have just disposed of that by that man saying what he said. And also, you're making another valid point that when Democrats are president, if there are more mass shootings, it's because people go crazy. They just can't stand the idea of a Democrat in the White House.
Exactly.
Right.
And when a Republican, even a nut job, is in the White House, we are able to deal with it, and we try to, get back power through legitimate means. We just don't lose our lunch, and we don't throw up and go around killing people.
Yeah.
And one more point about this. The Second Amendment. There was the guy who called last week, and he was just about the Second Amendment. What I would challenge, ask them to recite the Second Amendment and see if they know that the first 4 words start with a well-regulated militia.
Being necessary.
Exactly.
Which makes it a provisional amendment.
Exactly.
Right.
And
provided that you need this, you can have that.
Exactly.
Yep.
I
know. Listen, at the beginning of this nation, when this nation was first founded, the rules to have gunpowder, the way you had to carry everything from your musket to your gunpowder balls to, how many you could have and in a pouch and which direction the pouch had to be stored. It was so super uber regulated, okay? And why do you think you can't quarter a soldier in your house? Yeah, that's also part of the Constitution. Nobody ever wants to talk about that. Why? Because you don't violate their muster or their ability to carry a weapon by introducing them into your domestic situation. You can't quarter a soldier. Can't give them... Oh, man, people are just so stupid. Tony in New Mexico.
Yes, Randy.
Yes.
I got to argue with you a little bit. Well, I don't want to argue.
Okay.
Let's not argue.
Let's not.
Okay? Let's just talk. You want to, just like the last guy that called in, you want to talk about the first 4 words of the Second Amendment, but you want to ignore the last 14.
No, I want them to be taken together.
Well,
because amendments are not
I want to talk about history.
Amendments aren't that long. They are short and to the point, and it makes the point that providing you need this to do that, you get that to do this. That's what it is. It's a provisional amendment.
Yes.
Right.
And the idea behind it, Randy, was that in the event that this country is invaded by another country, the people, and you can look through the entire Constitution, everywhere the terms the people is brought up, it is talking about the people, the American citizens. And their right to keep and bear arms will not be infringed.
No,
therefore,
that is not
they
what the
have the
Second
ability
Amendment
to
was written
defend
for.
themselves.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, that's why it's that's why it's provisional.
It's not about hunting.
No, it's not about I never said hunting. I said it's provisional. Meaning,
well, you've been talking hunting and guns for hunting.
Because guns.
So let me ask you, what guns?
Now you've just gone out the window. Okay, you've just taken a decent attempt at having a conversation about the Second Amendment, and you've conflated it with hunting, which is ridiculous. The only comment I made about hunting is there's equipment that is germane to ice skating. There's equipment that's germane to archery. There's equipment that's germane to hunting. There's equipment that's germane to home safety, home protection. That can include alarms. It can also include having a gun. But as far as the Second Amendment goes and an individual right to any damn thing you want unregulated, that doesn't exist in American jurisprudence. It doesn't exist in the Constitution. It doesn't exist in the law. It doesn't exist anywhere. And this country has self-governed with that particular view from its inception until Antonin Scalia. And even Antonin, who had to twist himself into I don't know what position in the Kama Sutra it was, couldn't, when he was trying to say there's an individual right to some kind of weapon, which is all he said, an individual right to some kind of weapon, he said there is nothing in the Constitution that would bar any government from regulating what kind of a weapon could be outlawed. That you couldn't have any damn thing that you wanted. You go read that. That's the Heller decision, okay? And if you really want to get down deep, read the decision before that governed us from 1939 until Antonin Scalia. That's the Miller decision. Miller, Heller. Read that. Read those. You read those, you'll know exactly what is true about the Second Amendment. Exactly what is true. Have a good weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Be well.